This conference will now be recorded.
She was traveling, so I don't know if the time difference made a slight difference for her, and she might be 3 hours, I think, ahead of us. So
Tanya just said that I can call her to see.
okay, we can have her give her a call before we start. So we'll give it a couple more moments.
Here's Jennifer.
Okay, it looks like almost all of us are here. I think we're just missing the general manager, but we have the incoming general manager, so that's just as good, I think. And Barry's here now, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order for the Board of Commissioners for Lake Stevens Sewer. It is Tuesday, November 24th, 2020. I'm just going to read our usual little opener. Commissioners, staff, and citizens, since this is a remote meeting, some initial comments are appropriate. As required by the governor's original March 24th proclamation, the Lake Stevens Sewer District is holding its commissioner meetings remotely using the GoToMeeting platform. While this is not our norm, we're glad we're able to ensure continuity of the business operations. Members of the public who are participating, we are very grateful for your support and patience while we work through this interim way of doing business. Members of the public have been invited to join via the meeting platform, which is GoToMeeting. The public comment section of our agenda will be handled in the following way. First, comments or questions that are emailed to the Sewer District Customer Service or otherwise received sufficiently in advance of the meeting will be read during this public forum. Secondly, during the meeting, anyone wishing to comment during the public forum may use the chat box feature, and you will be provided with the opportunity to comment. Board members, we're going to take some attendance here, so by me calling out your name, please say it as loudly and clearly as possible and indicate whether you can hear myself, and I'll indicate whether we can hear you. We do need to do our very best to speak one person at a time, so our note taker, even though this is a recorded meeting, can take some of the minutes. So with that being said, Commissioner Koshy, can you hear me?
Commissioner Lawrenson, I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. How about Commissioner Stevenson? Can you hear me?
Yes, Commissioner Lorenzen, I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, perfect. Welcome to the meeting. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So welcome again to the meeting. So we have on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there anything else that we need to add this morning to the agenda or subtract? Not seeing anybody jump out and say yay, yay, yay. I do know we will have a short executive session at the very end, so I'll just let everybody kind of know that up front. I see Tanya's arrived. Good morning.
Good morning.
So
sorry.
That, no, that's all right. With that, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda.
It has been moved and I hear a second. So it's moved and second. We'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It has moved and approved. So moving on down to the consent items. Any questions, comments from anybody on that? Anything from the staff? Looking around, not seeing you.
I had one
Perfect.
question, just a refresher, maybe to Nikki. Fund 42 and 43, those are just investment funds. Can you refresh my memory on what those are?
Sure. Fund 42 is the rate stabilization fund. All that, the
Okay.
4 million is invested in the county, and we just transfer that interest amount out to our debt payment funds. And
Yeah.
what was the other fund you asked about?
That's it. No, I couldn't remember offhand what the stabilization fund and the one of the county. Now that makes sense. I knew they're the larger funds in which we pull from to make the payments, but I just was just curious this morning. So
Perfect, thank you. So entertain a motion to approve consent items.
I'd make a motion to approve consent items.
And I second that.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the consent items A through I. Call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it has passed. Thank you. Moving on down to the public forum, which is item number 6. I don't know, Tara, if we've received any previous comments, questions.
We have not.
Okay, not receiving anything from the public. This is an opportunity for anybody who is in attendance, and we do seem to have a few folks, at least 17 of us here. Please, if you'd like to make a comment on anything that we might have on the agenda or something else, let us know. Not seeing anybody move their arms up and down that they're having a problem with their microphone or anything like that, or anybody speaking up. We'll go ahead and move on to the old business. And so the first item in old business is a resolution number 987. I will let staff go ahead and present that. Well, at least in theory. I think Tanya's out with some microphone issues.
Well, I just pulled up the agenda on my phone, so I'm just reading which one it is. What that is that our legal counsel has advised us that on an annual basis, we reconfirm, we state the dates of our board meetings and the times that they will be held. It's just an annual declaration that we will be having our meetings on the second and fourth Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. and we will continue that into 2021. And they'll be right here virtual until it is, stated by our governor that we can move into having meetings once again in the boardroom.
Perfect, thank you. So entertain a motion for resolution number 987.
I'd make a motion that we approve resolution 987, reconfirming our schedule and location of commissioner meetings.
And I second that.
So it has been moved and seconded that we move forward with resolution 987, which is the reconfirming the schedule and location of the Board of Commissioner meetings for Lake Stevens Sewer District in the year 2021. So call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And resolution 987 has passed. Moving down to item B in old business, which is resolution number 988, which is the Bachelor annexation public hearing and certification of petition. I will let the Assistant General Manager, Jonathan Dix, speak on that.
All right, so resolution 988 is rescheduling a public hearing that was originally scheduled for November 12th, but we rescheduled that regular board meeting. So we have to reschedule the public hearing for the SEPA DNS issuance. This resolution sets the date to December 10th at 9 a.m. and the public hearing notice will be posted in the Herald as well as on site on the Bachelor annexation site and the district office. District staff recommends the resolution 988 for approval. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I have none. So seeing nobody wave their hands or move their heads side to side indicating a no, I would call for a vote on resolution number 988.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 988, Bachelor Door annexation public hearing and certification of petition.
And I second that.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 988. I will go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it has passed 3-0. So thank you, everybody, for that, and we look forward to the public hearing on it. So we will move down to new business, and this is where our finance gets to talk about third quarter financials. Mickey, you are up.
Thanks, Dan. So this is the monthly financial report that's through September, so it's through the third quarter. If we go to page 1, the cash and investment balance report, I just want to note for you guys that $2.9 million that's in the maintenance fund, 1.5 million of that is for the 2019 bond payment. When we went through the refinancing of the 2019 bonds, Dan Gottlieb, the bond counsel, suggested that we don't keep the money in Fund 49, so we don't have to worry about the arbitrage interest for that. So we started setting aside the bond money in Fund 40, and we just kind of have it a little separate on our investment worksheet that this is for the bond payment. The actual balance for the maintenance fund is 1.382 million. So I just wanted to make sure show you that so you don't think that we really average. We have $3 million in there. That's pretty much it. We're doing well on our cash. Everything is going as budgeted. We expect to end the year with an increase in our end of year cash. So, is there any questions on the cash and investment balance report?
I have none. Thank you, though.
So on page 2, this is our statement of monthly operations. This is the last 7 months. So it's just giving you a trend of the last 7 months of where we're at. I'll give you a couple of the highlighted things. I'm not going to go through it line by line. The July plant operation expense was high due to the chemicals. We had to buy resin compound and sodium hydroxide. And we had the software support for the yearly Xenon tech support payment was due. In August, the maintenance and collections expense was higher due to some lift station maintenance. We had to replace the dowsing station hydraulic cylinder. We had some crane maintenance at lift station 12 and lift station 15. We did some pressure switches at lift station 11. Lift station 7 had some pump repairs. And we did do pump seals for lift station 12, 15, 19, and 20. We also had to do a pump rebuild at lift station C1, and we did some wet well cleaning at lift station 8, 18, 20, and C7. The August administrative expense was due to the new boardroom. We had to do new desks for the boardroom. We also had the comp plan RFQ advertisements. And we had the yearly support payments for our ASAP software and the Revise, which is, I believe, is the website. Then, let's see, the September plant salaries and benefits and payroll taxes is higher due to the hiring of Jim, our new treatment plant supervisor, and the severance pay that was paid out for an employee that was terminated. The July net rental income was high due to the COVID-19. We gave salons some extra time to make her rents for May and June, and those payments actually came in July, so she caught herself up. Is there any questions on the trend? Okay, moving on to page 4, page 4, the comparatives. This compares the current month this year to the same month last year, and then the current year to date to last year's year to date. So this is also ending in September. So we have a little bit of some oddities due to the COVID-19. Commercial service for the month-to-month and the year-to-year comparisons are down due to the restaurants being closed for a time and then limited openings. And the schools, of course, being closed, so those revenues are down. With the increased building that's been going on as far as residential goes, it's actually been making up for those differences. So we're still where we need to be as far as the budget goes. With the new bill that's going on in residential, it's making up for the commercial downturn. On the operating expenses, the month-to-month comparison is down while the year-to-year has increased. We do expect that the expenses are going up. We've added another employee, and we've had some lift station maintenance expenses that were higher than what we expected. On the operating income, it's the year-to-year comparison is down. That's, like I said, due to the schools and the commercial being down due to the COVID-19. The interest on investments, net of investment fees, is also down because, of course, interest rates went down. So we're not getting as much interest as we previously were, and also because we did spend $4 million out of the rate stabilization fund at the end of 2019 to pay down our 2010 Build America bonds. So we're also $4 million less to receive interest on. The interest expense is down due to the refunding of the 2010 bonds. We, with the 2019 bonds, we have a lower interest rate. Then our net income, while the month-to-month comparison has an increase in the net income, the year-to-year has a decrease. The decrease is mostly due to the connection fees received to date. As of September 2019, we had collected $3.2 million in connection fees, while this year through September, we've only collected $2.2 million. Is there any questions on the comparatives? Okay, then we're on to page 8, which is the cost per equivalent residential unit. So this report tells you what it's costing a customer for their sewer service, where that $86 is going. You can see the average or the total operating expense plus other deductions plus the average monthly principal balance for the month of September was $79.90. So that means of the $86 rates, $79.90 went to cover all of the expenses. When you look at year to date, because month-to-month expenses are they're not always equal, it's $84.07, which means so far year to date, we're bringing in almost $2 more than what it's costing us to run the district. Is there any questions on that?
What page are you on there, Mickey?
This is page 6.
Okay.
It's the cost per equivalent residential unit, 9 months ending September 30th.
There we go. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to page 8, the summary of the maintenance and operations budget. September's percentage is 75%, and we are currently at 70% of our budget. So we're currently under budget, which is good. I do predict that we will be under our budget this year. I just input all of the October expenses, and I believe we're going to come out at about $6.1, $6.2 million. So we'll still be under budget for 2020. Is there any questions on that one?
Very quick golf clap of praise.
Okay, now the fun part. Page 9 is the current month actual to the current year-to-date actual, comparing the year-to-date budget and whether or not we're over or under. So this is actually the detail of all the M&O expenses. The administrative expenses are $78,767 under the current year-to-date budget amount, and we've only spent 69% of the budget there. The business taxes and insurance are pretty much on budget for the year, with excise tax over budget. But we like it when the excise tax is over budget because that means we've collected more connection fees than we expected. The advisor expenses are at $72,157 under the current year-to-date budget, spending only 44% of the budget so far. That will change a little bit because we are getting the state auditor bills starting to come in because we're wrapping up the audit. Any questions on any of that?
No real question, but just a comment. Great job by everybody involved because we're holding the line and really scrutinizing some of the expenses. So thank you, everybody, for the hard work on that.
On to page 10 is the field maintenance and collection expenses. And they are currently $54,861 under the current year-to-date budget amount, spending 72% of the budget. A couple of the highlights for the field of maintenance is the 62600 is the district other lift station maintenance, which is over budget due to lift station 20 pump repairs, the lift station 11 pressure switch, the dowsing station hydraulic cylinder, lift station 7 pump parts, and the wet well cleanings at lift station 2, 8, 18, and 20. You'll see that that is in the 2021 budget, we will be increasing that line item. On 62603, district lift station 15 maintenance is over budget due to the generator transfer power issue. They had to troubleshoot and repair that, and also the purchase of the pump stills. The other one is 92130, which is the field safety. It's over budget due to the PPE purchases and confined space winch repairs that had to be done. Is there any questions on that one? If not, we'll move on to page 11, which is the plant maintenance and operations. They are $127,715 under the current year-to-date budget, only expending 70% of their total budget. The 80402 plant maintenance and operation supplies is over budget due to the purchase of pump wear plates for the boiler repair, the VFD cooling fans, and an effluent pH probe, some work on the communications module, the diesel pump repair, and the turbidity sensor repair, and the new SCADA towers. 80705, other services, is over budget due to the outfall gate, the power vacuum of the methane boilers, and Collins engineer work on troubleshooting the HVAC system. And there was a ransomware hit and some server upgrades to the UV system. 80905 is the plant vehicle expense. It's over budget due to the window tinting and the battery replacement on the Subaru. Is there any questions on that?
No, other than, again, thank you, everybody, for the hard work. It's great to see that each one of our different departments, collection, maintenance, and operations and administration are doing an excellent job in holding expenses down. This is very helpful as an organization, so thank you again.
Okay, on to page 12 is the capital project budget to actual summary. So far we have spent $6.4 million on our uncompleted capital projects to date. Some of these are multi-year projects, so not all of the $6.4 million was spent in 2020. There are 4 projects that have negative remaining balances. There was a resolution that was approved at the October 8th board meeting to transfer funds, and we'll get that updated on this spreadsheet to take care of that. Does anybody have any questions on the capital? Then we're on to Kevin's favorite, the waterfall.
Love this sheet.
So if you'll see that in the September, I updated the September numbers, and I believe that we're going to come in for our total O&M expense at $6.1 million. I do believe that we're going to be able to come on and just a little bit over budget on our operating revenues due to the high number of residential building that's going on currently. Is there any questions on the waterfall? Anything more you'd like to see on it?
No, it's beautiful. Just, I guess, just a couple observations. One, about the fifth row down in this starting year operating cash, and as you mentioned before, Mickey, that's stable. You look at the forecast, look at what we're early look out on FY or calendar year 21 at 3.4. That's very impressive given the fact that we took on a more aggressive debt repayment schedule. And at one point in time, we're anticipating that to hit us an additional $1 million a year in terms of operating expense. So to be able to absorb that into the machine and benefit from some additional growth for sure, being able to keep that line stable is really, really great work. The other comment I have about this is we look down at where are we at on total, what line am I looking at? Total debt here, right here. So the year in total debt. So we're looking at from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about a dozen lines up. Starting in 2015 with nearly 105 million in debt. If you look out to the early look of 21, under 70 million. So that would mean we have banged down $35 million in debt, a full 1/3 of our total debt structure in 6 years. Unfreaking believable. It is just fantastic. Yeah, so just a couple observations. It really gives a nice snapshot from a multi-year basis and our trends, and then zeroing in on what we're doing. So just a couple points there. Those are the two that I look at, and I'm in awe of that. That's for a government agency or municipality to be able to have that type of financial performance on the debt structures. I think I'm not aware of anywhere else. So fantastic job. The other, on the cautionary side, we've benefited from a huge building increase in terms of our right, and so that has given us a nice tailwind the past few years, and it was shocking to me that the building and everything continued through the whole pandemic. I would have never predicted that. I wouldn't have predicted my gutter guy being busy either. So it's very interesting to see what businesses have done well. We won't always be able to rely on that. So the extra diligence around the hygiene and things that we have here just puts us in an excellent position when we have the next downturn. We don't know when, but we know it is going to happen because it always happens. Nothing is different forever. So just great work. That's a great summary. Thank you.
Well, for those that can buy a new house, we've had a lot of home turnovers these past couple of months, which is, we've been over 100 in our final billed accounts these past couple of months. So those that can are taking advantage of these low interest rates, and so buying up those new homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would say the same with your sentiments there, Commissioner Koshy, is to be able to reduce that debt load is incredible. That is not the norm in government, it seems, in this day and age. We've been very blessed, I think, as an organization to have great people. We've had great previous commissioners that continue what we are doing, or I guess we're continuing what they have done, is making sure that ratepayer value is there. It's trying to shed the debt. We knew when we took that debt on many years ago as an organization to build a new plant that it would meet these standards. It was shocking at that time for that kind of debt, but I think that we are making some great headway in repaying it. And I just want to say thank you to the staff, because it is the staff that looks at it each and every day. And I think they've adopted what I think Commissioner Koshi has coined as that ratepayer value, which really comes down to show that all our decisions are based on that, how we can make sure that we're giving the best service for their value of dollar we're putting out. So thank you, everybody, for the hard work.
And that's the end of my presentation.
Well, thank you. I was hoping to see if Ms. Bauman was going to step up. I know that she was practicing to eventually give some of these reports, and I think I saw she posted something about being nervous about it, but I think we will get her here.
We're going to tag team the budget review, so you'll get to hear from her soon.
Perfect, perfect. So we'll go ahead and I'll give the floor back to everybody, and we will go back to item B if there's nothing else on item A. I think you're up, Jonathan.
Yep, sorry, that mute button. All right, so this is a discussion and kind of a request that the commissioners choose a preferred alternative for the odor control for lift station 22. So as we had discussed before, and was part of PACE's scope, was to first identify what odor we were trying to eliminate at lift station 22. And the results of that analysis are also in the packet, but it looks like there were H2S was outside of what is I guess noticeable. So we did confirm that H2S is in fact the component that we're trying to eliminate. And in PACE's analysis, they looked at three different possible solutions. One of them is the ECS V1 carbon absorber system, and this uses activated carbon to scrub and polish the exhaust air coming out of our wet well. They also looked at it's essentially a dual component air scrubber called the Seneco Peacemaker air scrubber. That one uses two different kinds of media to polish the air, and also looked at a ozone injection system, and the ozone oxidizes H2S and a few other components that could be causing malodor at the lift station. After looking at the odor analysis and looking at what each of these solutions offer, I think PACE's recommend the ECS V1 carbon absorber system, and staff would definitely would second that opinion. Anything you'd like to add, PACE or Robin? Sorry.
No, I think you've pretty well summarized it. I think the one thing to add is that the carbon absorption system from ECS is actually a dual media system. So it also contains potassium permanganate, which also helps to oxidize any organic matter that may be in the air stream, as well as the H2S odors. So you're getting kind of a belt and suspenders approach to the ECS type system, and the fact that it's been known to provide about a 99% reduction factor will again bring down any kind of odors below basically a non-detect. We're talking 1/10 of a part per million, which is below 1/10 of a part per million, which is well below the air quality guidelines.
And the rough order of magnitude for that, we're looking at about $60,000 compared to the Seneca, which is $115,000, and the Generox system is $137,000.
What's the OpEx look like on it? I mean, is the dual media, is that something that's expensive? Does ECS only people that make it? Is it easy to change? Does it take any more labor on our part to change it than just our normal routines when we're out there doing other maintenance on the site? Any kind of flavor on the OpEx piece of it?
Oh, go ahead, Robin.
It's no different than what you're using probably on your other media filters for your odor control on existing lift stations. The fact that we won't be overloading this carbon media, the expected life cycle for that, I think, is probably between 3 and 4 years for replacement. So we did, again, it's a little bit of belt and suspenders on using the dual media, but we also added a little bit of a safety factor to sizing the facility so that you weren't out there having to replace your media on an annual basis. And so I think I think we're looking at about a 3-foot cubic container of media. It's 3 to 4 years of lifespan.
Okay. So a heck of a lot better than my MERV 12s here at the house. I appreciate that. All right. Thank you.
So one question on what was I guess I know that we have gotten some concerns from some of the neighbors, and so I don't know how close the odor was to the closest neighbor, I guess I should be saying, in regards to that. And is this going to take care of that? I mean, we want to be a good neighbor, and I know that some of our other stations that we've had downtown that through no fault of our own, but just designs at that time, we struggle with finding something that's going to ensure that we're not going to have the odor control problem. I guess my view would be is, yes, I want to go with, the best system at the lowest cost, but if we have to spend more just to ensure we're not going to have any issues with the neighbors with this station, that's where I'm really kind of leaning towards.
Yeah.
I think to answer that question, Commissioner Lorenzen, we not only did odor quality testing in the wet well, but also at the fence, and I believe at the nearest home. And with the type of reductions that we should see, I'm not going to say that they're not going to smell anything, but what they smell should not be offensive. And the fact that we're also going to be directing the exhaust from the wet well fan and then ultimately from the activated carbon filter is actually going to be going up higher into the air column, so it gets dispersed much quicker than where it just comes out at the location on the wet well site at a lower elevation. So it doesn't really receive that diffusion that you would get by changing the exhaust pattern. So I think this will give us the best results for the cost, and a 99% reduction, and to a 0.0074 parts per million in the airstream is just about non-detect.
Perfect, thank you.
And I think it's also safe to say that there's not a solution out there that can 100% guaranteed eliminate every odor that you get out of a lift station. So I think the solution that the district and engineering is proposing is, if we can get a 99% reduction at that cost, that's pretty good.
Perfect. So would you like a motion to approve option 1? Is that what is the staff looking for? Okay, so entertain a motion from the board, if so be it, for a movement on the odor control options 1 through 3.
I'll make a motion that we approve preferred odor control alternatives for lift station 22, option 1.
And I will second that.
So it has been moved and seconded to move forward with alternative or option number 1 that has been recommended by staff and Pace Engineering for the odor control of the station. Is there a dollar amount not to exceed, or do we anticipate it's gonna be at $60,000 total?
That's a rough order of magnitude. We won't know until we get into the design of it, how much that'll actually be. So I think right now, if the commission is comfortable with just approving the odor control solution, and once we move forward with design a little further, then we'll have a budget that we can provide.
Okay, so it's pretty much already in that. I was just adding my little commentary, and that means nothing. So I'll call for a motion. All in favor? Aye.
Also, commissioners and district staff, I also wanted to recognize Lincoln Chapman from our office, who is attending and being silent today, who helped tremendously in the production of this memorandum and this research, and also was your inspector on the construction for lift station 22, and has been assisting me in providing services to the district. So I just wanted to recognize his attendance here today.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lincoln.
Robin. Yeah,
Thank
I wasn't saying much because you kind of hit the nail on the head with the odor control solution there. But thanks for chiming in, and yeah, I'll continue with the design and continue helping out the district as much as I can.
Thank you, appreciate it. And so I now know that you guys have some work in front of you, so thank you again. We're gonna move on down to item C in the new business, and this is adding our new general manager to all the bank accounts at Columbia Bank and First Financial Northwest Bank, but I will let the current general manager speak on behalf of that.
This is more of a housekeeping to satisfy the bank requirements to add Mariah Lowe to the bank account and to remove me from the bank account. Darn it. So they can do the signature cards and everything else. And First Financial is going to be our new bank. And we're going to be changing the signers at Columbia Bank. This is just, I just need a motion for it and to reflect in the minutes that you approve that.
Could you just spend just a moment, whoever's appropriate, just talk about our financial controls real quick on signing and how we go about that in terms of the financial integrity, just briefly?
So that's actually something that I did want to talk about. So the checks are all the checks. We do all of our AP right here in the office. We took it from the county several years ago. And besides yourselves looking at all the vouchers and signing off on them, so do I, and so does Jonathan, and so does Jim. So that's the first step. And then another person will enter in all the accounts payable, and there's a register that comes printed out from Cassell that we take the register, I do, or Mariah, and we match that register up with the checks. So we can check and see that each one of them is correct. We do have a stamp with my signature on it that they stamp all the checks. And then after today's board meeting, somebody will insert them and ship them off. So we do match it all up that way. At the bank, it's most everything is automatic. There's very rarely that we have to go to the bank and do a withdrawal. I'm assumptive the bank would follow the protocols and verify the signer. I do have a letter that I'm going to ask you to sign. It's under the petty cash letter. Currently, right now with our Heritage Bank, if there's a petty cash check, I'm the only one who's authorized to cash that check. So if Teresa gets a petty cash reimbursement for, say, $40, I have to go to the bank and cash it. Teresa is not able to go and do that. With First Financial, if the board approves it, Teresa, Mickey, Michelle, Mariah, and Jonathan, either one, any of those would be able to go and cash a petty cash check for, say, up to $100 max cash. So the controls are basically everything we've put into place with a dual control process. The checks are all locked up in a safe in my office. I am the only one who has the key. I have shared the combination at various times with Mariah and Jonathan, but they have to have a key to get into it. And that would probably be the biggest control we have right there. Could an employee do something else? Sure, people are smart. I mean, it happens. I was in banking far too long to not realize that your greatest losses are internal. The state auditor has been very satisfied with all of our dual control. We're probably one of the better, I believe, on our dual control processes on banking.
We also do a positive pay file to the bank. So like today, when they ran all of the payables for today's board meeting, they uploaded a file to the bank that says, here's the check number, here's the vendor's name, and here's the dollar amount. And that has to match when that goes through the bank to be counted. So when they deposit into their account and it hits our account, if those don't match, then the Columbia Bank sends us an exception report, and then we have to review it if something's off and whether or not we want to let them cash that check or reject that check. So that's also a control that we have with the AP account.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that being said, I entertain a motion that we add our new general manager, Mariah Lowe, to all the bank accounts at Columbia Bank and then also First Financial Northwest Bank, because there is a transition.
Yeah,
Make a motion.
excuse me, Kevin, could you also make a motion to remove me as signer?
Love to.
There. Darn it.
Okay. Make a motion that we add Mariah Lowe and remove Tanya Christopherson for all bank accounts at Columbia Bank and at First Financial Northwest Bank.
And I second that.
So it has been moved and seconded. We've had a lengthy discussion on it, so I'm sure there isn't much more to go over. So I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It has passed. Moving on down to adding Ms. Lowe as a signer of the county payroll pickup and other district documents.
So that's very much the same thing at the county. They do require that we do a signature authorization form. We currently have Mariah, Jonathan, Mickey, and Amy as those authorized to pick up any kind of warrants and to certify accounts payable, vouchers, anything like that. This would be adding Mariah to it and removing me, and I would need all three of you to come in and sign this document.
Okay. Entertain a motion authorizing Mariah Lowe be signed on to the signer card for Snohomish County to pick up the payroll and any other district documents, and removing the general manager till at least the end of the month, Tanya Christopherson.
I would make a motion that we add Mariah Lowe and remove Tanya Christopherson as the signer at both the county for payroll pickup and any other district documents.
And I second that.
It has been moved and seconded. I will call for the votes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it has passed. Thank you.
And excuse me, can we just do F and then do E? That way we'll just get this out, all the banking out of the way.
Yeah, we'll move item F up in place of the budget forecast, which will go down to F. And that is for the petty cash letter that was spoken about, but I will let Tanya go ahead and speak on that once again.
What I had said earlier that at our current bank is I'm the only one who's authorized to sign a check. That is federal policy through the bank, and they will not let Teresa, who does the banking, an example, go and cash a petty cash check. We have cash drawers that have a limit on them, and when they fall below that limit, she reimburses it. and we get the checks through our AP. What I've designated this letter is that these checks are typically less than $100, and we will limit the maximum allowable to be cashed at that $100. And the following employees could cash these petty cash checks. What they are, they're made out to the Lake Stevens Sewer District. It will be endorsed as the Lake Stevens Sewer District, and that employee would also sign their name. And First Financial Northwest has requested, if we are having somebody do this, that we put this letter forward and signed by the board president, and we would allow Mickey, Teresa, Michelle, Mariah, and Jonathan to cash a check, instead of having really your most expensive employee go to the bank to cash a $30 check.
Okay, so we will go ahead and I would entertain a motion authorizing, and you can put the new employees that would be authorized for the petty cash letter to the, we're going to call it First Financial Northwest Bank.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we provide a letter to First Northwest Bank allowing 4 employees at the general manager's, indicate the 4 employees that are going to be added to this letter that can cash petty cash checks made out to the Lake Stevens Sewer District up to the dollar amount of $100.
I second that.
It has been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it has passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move to the 2021 budget forecast.
Okay. So if you guys saw your emails this morning, we sent out a new budget. When I got back from vacation, I was informed that we had to do this at this board meeting, and I wasn't quite prepared. I was expecting this to be done in December, so we threw it out there really quick and realized there were some errors. So you did get a new one this morning. We're going to go, the schedule 1 of the budget is just a summary pretty much of all of the other schedules put together. We'll go into more of the detail as we go through all of the different schedules of the budget. Just a little, because there's some people that are new on this year for this budget. The district is very conservative with its revenue forecasting, and we also overestimate our expenses. And we do that to make sure that our rates that we have currently can cover everything. When putting together the budget, there's 2 factors that we don't know what they're going to be. One of that is the medical, dental, vision benefit rate. We don't know that until March. So we do a 12% increase on that, and we true that up during the mid-year budget review. And the other one is labor and industries. We don't usually get that notice till mid-December and December. So currently that I don't remember the percentage on that one exactly. I think it's 10%. But we do true that up during the mid-year budget also. There is one other one is PERS. Every other year they do their biannual update to the rate. We just had one this last year, so I don't expect one this year unless they do a special session for it. With this schedule 1, you'll see that expenses are up primarily due to the salaries. We do have a new treatment plant supervisor. We did budget in a new HR person and replacing Casey Mullins' position, which has been empty since September, and Jim Farrell's position, which has been unfilled since May of 2019. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Michelle, and she's going to go over schedule 2, 3, and 3B for you.
Here I am. Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. So on schedule 2, which is going to be page 2, to begin with, this is the 2021 projected revenues. So to begin with, we're going to start with our district rate revenue. We were able to keep this at $86 again. This is actually the 5th year in a row we've been able to do that. Very exciting. So we're conservatively projecting 13,950 ERUs at the $86 each. That brings us to $14,396,400. Permit fees, line 2, we're estimating 179 permits to be purchased this next year. This is where we come up with the $44,750. You will see this number decline over the next few years as we run out of buildable land. Line item 3 is our interest charges. We are conservatively estimating $10,000. This, as well as the next item, which is the late fees and penalties, comes from a percentage of our delinquent accounts. We're conservatively projecting $65,000 on the late fee. Our FOG program fees, we're keeping the same at $36,000, as our commercial customers do not change significantly year to year. Line 6, our other sewer revenues. This consists mostly of our forfeited developer deposits and a map sale here and there. We did drop this down to $2,500 for the upcoming year, as we only have one DEA set to expire in 2021, and we do not foresee them at this time renewing. Our rental income comes from Salon Michelle's lease. We're keeping this the same at $25,000, as there's no change in her terms through 2021. So this brings our total projected operating revenue to $14,579,650. Our district delinquency cost we keep at $100,000, which gives us a total projected working revenue of $14,479,650. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Looks good.
Okay. So if you scroll down or turn the page, depending how you're looking, we come on to Schedule 3, which is our debt payments. So due to the refinancing of the Build America bonds in 2019, our debt payments have decreased quite a bit. In 2019, our payment was roughly $8.7 million. In 2020, this dropped to approximately $7.7 million. So this was almost $1 million savings to our ratepayers. You will notice on line 3, there's no payment for 2021. This loan was paid off in 2020. That's about it for Schedule 3, unless there's any questions on that.
I guess the only question is probably there's a board discussion, maybe a workshop sometime in the future where we talk about, if we're able to, if operating income continues to be stable and or growing during this time, do we look at that as, additional reserves, or do we evaluate our reserve policy and take a certain amount of monies that are above that and accelerate the debt payments even more? That's probably a conversation we should have at some point. But so not a specific question this table, but this table has triggered that in my mind, and maybe we just make a placeholder there and have that for a workshop that we can talk through. And frankly, that would also be, I think, it might be an appropriate utility committee conversation with our city partners also, because this ultimately ends up, that's one of those things that decisions now make a significant difference as the district is absorbed by the city for the unification agreement. So that might be whether we do it internal and then bring in, or we just do it together, but be appropriate, I think, to have them involved.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think a workshop, at least from the level of the commissioners having a conversation, taking a look at the schedule with the general manager, assistant general manager of the finance, getting a snapshot of our future 5 years out, kind of understand what we're at, where we're at. Can we afford to do that? I mean, I think we've always pushed to accelerate debt reduction, which is something we want to be able to do, because I think by the time 2032, 33 rolls around, the city should be inheriting something with relatively zero debt, which in government is more unusual than most people understand. So, but yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, and a balance against rates too, because you start paying, OpEx, we put rates maybe a little, so it's that balance. Maybe we, decide the guidelines. But anyway, that'd be a great conversation, and frankly, a great, if that's the kind of problems we got, those are great conversations. So.
Okay, so with that, we'll go on to Schedule 3B, which is our 5-year debt payments. So here you'll see our 5-year debt payments outlined. You will notice we are going to be paying off 3 more loans in 2022, which is lines 2, 3, and 4. And then 3 more loans in 2025, which is lines 5, 6, and 7. You'll notice the decline in our total debt payments every year as we continue to pay down the principal. And then if you look to the bottom left, you'll notice we have the next 10 years outlined. And there you can see the significant drop in 2033. This was designed this way, so most of the debt for the treatment plant is paid off prior to the merger with the city. So they are not assuming all that debt. Is there any questions on this one?
No, thank you. I mean, I think this sheet really schedule, I mean, it really kind of outlines what we have been doing as an organization for a long time. And I think this is something that I hope we share with our city partners, especially the council, because I think that it's something they should be able to take a look at and truly understand. I know looking at who's attending today, we do have a city council member here, and I'm very happy that we do have partners on the other side that are looking at this, because it's important. I mean, I think as Commissioner Koshy spoke earlier, we reduced $30+ million in a 6-year period. That is just absolutely incredible. So good job by everybody involved in this organization. Thank you.
Hey, Dan, just so that you know, I do send out the quarterly financials to all of the city council members and city staff. So they are receiving the reports.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I think it's just something that I know that a lot of times when we get a 200-page document or a 20-page document, especially as electeds, because I can say it as one, we have a very short attention span sometimes, and then really highlighted, we glaze over numbers. And so this is just something that I think when you and your staff really talk about it and put it absolutely in front of us and have our undivided attention, it really means a lot. And so, yeah, I appreciate it, because I'm probably as guilty as a lot of other electeds at times. We just want to go down to that final figure and try to figure things out, whether it's positive or negative. But thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Mickey for the Schedule 4.
Well done.
Okay, so Schedule 4 starts on page 5. And this is the maintenance and operation expenses for the district. Page 5 starts off with the administrative type expenses. And the first section is the office and admin expenses. I'm not going to go through this line by line item. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights of it all. The salary and benefits are up 8%. This is due to the new HR position, which is split between the 3 departments. COLA and step increases, as well as the 12% increase for benefits, the 10% increase for L&I, and a 3% increase for PERS in case the legislature comes back and say they need more money. We will true these increases during the mid-year budget, as I mentioned previously. If you go to line 13, this is the commissioner salaries. This is budgeting for 3 commissioners to attend 6 meetings per month. We start the year off with that, and we do adjust that during the mid-year. Some years we've had real close to this budget amount, and other years we haven't even come close to it. If you go to line 15, the election costs, this is increased this year, or for 2021, due to position number 2 has to go through the election process. In past years, we've never budgeted this much before. It's generally a cost of about $8,000. But a couple years ago, we had multiple people running for a position, and we were included in the primary, which adds expenses. So we did include primary costs in this line item. And in the mid-year budget, we should know whether or not we're going to be part of the primary or not, and we can adjust that budget at that point. If you go down to line number 21, the admin conference travel mileage meals line, during the mid-year budget review, we took this budget way down due to everything going virtual. We don't know what 2021 is going to look like, so we brought it back up to its original budget amount from the 2020 beginning of year budget. And again, we'll review that during the mid-year budget review to see where we're at on that. Overall, the office and admin expense budget is up 7.53% over the 2020 mid-year budget. Is there any questions on the office and admin expenses? We'll move on to the taxes and the insurance. Line 35, the excise tax, we increased that by $50,000. We do expect, although we budgeted for 179 new connections, Jonathan and I went through the development spreadsheet, and there's a possibility of actually receiving 327. So we increased the excise tax a bit, hoping that we'll get that money in. We like it when the excise tax is over budget because it means we got more connection fees than we anticipated. So, line number 38, the district property insurance. We have a $13,000 decrease due to our insurance premiums actually went down from 2019 to from 2020 to 2021. Is there any questions on the taxes and insurance?
You know, I would.
Oops, I'm sorry. The only thing I would look at in the insurance, will that reduction, does that entail the bill, because we are coming up on December and the old treatment plan is still on our policy. And I know that we have worked with the city to transfer that to them by the end of this month. And so I don't know if that $13,000 reduction is part of the insurance reduction or not.
So Dan, I would like to address this. I work with Sean. He's an insurance broker. He's just changed companies. I can't remember the name of the company, but we've been with Travelers now for a few years, and we actually have added additional lift stations, increased the asset value. We actually added cybersecurity, increased employee loss security. We added more based on their advice. And I think because of our good standings, you know, we haven't had the claims. We've been able to get the reduced premium. The former lift station, former wastewater treatment plant is still on that as an asset. So once that is removed, we would save that. Plus, we are required to also carry the FEMA insurance because of the potential flooding. Even though nothing's worth anything down there, FEMA is requiring us to carry it. So we'll see a reduction in both the asset value of what we're carrying on our premium and the FEMA insurance as well. So it would be, I think we're paying about $12,000 or so. Plus we have a little bit of electrical we're paying down there as well. So you will see those reductions in the plan.
Perfect, thank you.
Very welcome.
Okay, the advisor section. So line 39, the state auditor is going to be down in 2021. That's to be, we have a financial audit every year and an accountability audit every other year. So currently in 2020, we're doing the financial and the accountability audit. So in 2021, we'll only have the financial audit, and that's why you see the reduction there. Line 43 is legal. We left the regular legal at 36, same as last year. The bargaining at 35. They are in the middle of bargaining. Whether that carries on into 2021, we are unsure. And then the unification, we reduced that down to 35,000, just looking at the trend of where we've been going with that cost. The line 45 outside help. This item has been reduced by $6.2 thousand because we did a salary survey in 2020, which we won't need to do in 2021. Is there any questions in regards to the advisor expenses? Okay, and then we're going to move on to page 6, which is the field maintenance and operations. On this one,
You can probably summarize these unless my fellow commissioners, so you can talk to the sheet in general. Generally, the increases are because of X.
Sure.
Or decreases. Don't feel you have to do an excruciating amount of detail, at least for me.
I was just covering some of the larger ones. I wasn't going to cover them all.
Okay.
For the field and maintenance operations, the salaries and benefits are up 17%. This is due to the new HR person, which is being split. And we are filling Jim Farrell's position, which has been unfilled since May of 2019. And again, the COLA, the step increases, the benefit increase, L&I, and all that. And we'll look at this during the mid-year budget review. We did a standard increase for utilities. We did 5% for the cellular phones. We thought we'd be adding a new phone for the new hire. On line 48, the maintenance of lines, we decreased this by $10,000 due to the decant facility coming online in 2021. We'll be doing a lot more in-house factory. Line 50 is the manhole adjustments, and we increased this budget. We are actually going to do an in-house manhole raising project in 2021, and this amount will actually, for us to do it in-house, will let us do more than what we've done in the past with an outside vendor. District line 60, the district other lift station maintenance, as I mentioned earlier, we have some aging lift stations that are needing more pump repairs, so we increased that line item. Same thing with the lift station, line 63, lift station 15. We have to replace 2 impellers at that lift station. Line 64, other lift station maintenance. Again, to the aging lift stations, we need to do more pump repairs. Line 74, the odor control. We have an additional lift station, so that line item went up. The line 77 field computer software maintenance, we've added the CityWorks yearly service agreement cost to that. Overall, the field maintenance and operations budget has gone up 16.79% over the 2020 mid-year budget. Does anybody have any questions on that one? On we go to the plant. So for the plant salaries, they're up 14%. This is due to that HR position, the new treatment plant supervisor being a full year, and refilling Casey Mullen's position that's been empty since September, and as well as the COLA, the steps, and the PERS and the medical. We did the standard 4% increase on all the utilities. If you look at line 106, the citric acid, this is increased for the biennial acid cleaning of the MBR. Line 107, the biosolids hauling and disposal. They're anticipating a price increase for 2021, so that's been increased. Line number 110, the plant maintenance and operating supplies. This was also increased due to the aging of the plant and the boiler repairs that are needed. Line 126, the laboratory outside analysis. The Department of Ecology is requiring 2 times the samples in 2021 in their sampling protocols, so that's been increased. Overall, the plant maintenance operations expense is up 12.12% over the 2020 mid-year budget. Is there any questions on the plants?
Are we anticipating some savings with the decant facility coming online? And is that reflected as of yet, or we still want to kind of see when it's going to come online? Or
yeah, we reduced our maintenance alliance budget by 20,000, which is what we use to pay Innovac or Bravo to come out and vector our lines because we don't have a disposal site. So there are still a few lift stations that we need an outside vendor to get to because they're difficult for a full-size Vector truck and we need pumper truck. But But yeah, so we've been able to reduce that by 20,000 this year, and we'll see using the decant facility if we can bring that down even further.
Great, thank you.
Well, that number is actually 10,000.
That's what I meant.
Okay, so on to page number 8, which has the other rate expenses, which is the city operating fee and the total. So this budget overall is 10.87% higher than the 2020 mid-year budget. Other than that, is there any other questions on the M&O expenses? Okay, with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Michelle, and she's going to go over Schedule 5 with you.
Okay, so Schedule 5, we are on to page 9. The top portion is our comprehensive plan projects. You'll see most of these are ongoing projects. There's only one new line item for 2021, which is line 12. It's our comprehensive plan update. We have $350,000 set aside for this. And then the bottom portion is our detailed capital projects that are not part of the comprehensive plan. Line items 20 and 21 were completed in 2020. Everything else is ongoing except our 5 new projects. Those are line item 25, which is the 2021 vehicle replacements. 26, which is the Micro C 2000 treatment plant pilot project. 27, the new recirculation pump at the treatment plant. 28, the Headworks band screen rehab at the treatment plant. And 29, the Vernon Business Center improvements. And I'm actually going to defer to Jonathan for details on those 5 new projects.
All right. So line item 25, the vehicle replacements. This is to replace a 2014 Dodge ProMaster and the 1999 Mitsubishi cab over end dump stake bed truck that we have. And that budget we're estimating to be about $110,000 to replace both of those vehicles. Line item 26, this $80,000 budget item is to conduct a pilot project to potentially introduce an additional carbon source. The Micro C 2000 is the name of the chemical. The pilot project would be conducted over a 60-day period, and at its conclusion, we should be able to make a decision on whether or not to recommend Micro C 2000 for a permanent implementation. The pilot would include a vessel or tank to hold the chemical feed pump, and some piping and the chemical itself. If the district were to decide to implement it permanently by purchasing these items as part of the pilot, it would reduce the permanent implementation cost. So that's why we've got the $80,000 budget in there for that. Line item 27, the new recirculation pump at the treatment plant. This is to replace a malfunctioning recirculation pump. The repair of this pump was roughly $6,000 plus 2 people, 4 to 6 hours to make the replacement or to make the repair. If we were to repair it, the new pump costs $8,000. So staff is recommending the purchase of the new pump, as repair would exceed 80% of the new pump costs. So 28, the Headworks band screen rehab. This is a $40,000 budget item, and it's to have the Headworks band screens inspected and rehabilitated. The band screens do the majority of removing trash and other material from the influent before it reaches our membranes. There are several wearable parts that have been worn to a point with some unwanted materials making it by the band screens. So we want to make sure that we get that addressed before any damage can happen to the membranes. There is another screen downstream that does finer detail, but again, this is the this is the first step in the process. 29, line item 29, this is a $125,000 budget item. And this is to potentially have the remainder of the building resided to match the front and or painted, as well as have some remodeling of the offices down here. We need to add one more enclosed office, so that would potentially be covered in this budget item as well. Any questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
Looks reasonable.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it back to Mickey. That is it for the capital, if there's no other comments.
Okay, now if we want to go back to page 1, which is the cash flow schedule, schedule 1. This is where all that information comes together, and you can see everything in a summary form. We have our 2021 budget, start of year operating cash at $3.3 million. Operating revenues at almost $5 million. Interest at $38,000. ULIT assessments of $3,000. Our total debt payments of $7.756, leaving a net operating cash available for O&M expenses of $10 million. Our O&M coming in at $7.2 million, leaving our end of year cash at $2.9 million. We don't anticipate touching the rate stabilization fund of $4.3 million. So that's going to stay the same. Down to the capital cash flows, we anticipate starting with $3.5 million, 179 new connections at $1.6 million. Interest income of $17,000, and then some miscellaneous stuff like the Southwest Phase 2 basin charge, any forfeited reimbursables. We're conservative with $25,000 there. And then we take out the new capital costs for 2021 of $1.4 million, with leaving a balance of $3.7 million. And that is the 2021 budget. Any questions?
No, thank you.
I'd like to thank Michelle for jumping in there and taking on some of the schedules.
Thank you, and thank you and Jonathan for all your help with it.
Anytime.
Well, I got one question I have, just to verify. Line 12, year-end stabilization fund, the 4.4 or 4.3.
Correct.
And then I come down and we have restricted by bond covenants. Those are two separate buckets of monies, correct?
Correct. So that $3.5 million is for the SRF loan reserves. So our SRF loans have a reserve requirement.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that'll be some, I mean, it's great to see that we're in such a great position. So I think this is where we'll have some great conversation with the other board members and staff here this coming year in regards to our reserves and how we want to take a look at some other debt repayments. So thank you.
Very well.
So that's the last of the new business, and we don't have to adopt this. I'm making the assumption right now, seeing Tanya wave her head side to side indicating no, that it will probably come before us in the first part of December. So we'll go ahead and move on down to managers' reports. We will start with our general manager.
Okay, good morning. First of all, I want to thank all three commissioners for your comments on the financials, and Mickey and Michelle and Jim and Jonathan for their contribution to helping put it together and for working so diligently within our budget. It has been a challenging year, as everybody is well aware, and I think we've done an amazing job, as you just saw, working within our budget and being respectful to the situation that everybody is in, including customers. I did report to you a couple weeks ago that the customer service team we had 72 customers who were in a NOI status, and Jennifer, for jargon, that's a notice of intent. And that means that we could actually move them into a foreclosure position. I have adopted the philosophy that I would never put anybody into foreclosure and move them out of their home while they live there. I think that's the worst PR that we could ever do. So what we did is we sent those 72 notifications, letters of intent, to lenders. And within the last 2 weeks, we've received $33,000 for 30 of those customers, which is equivalent to over $1,100. This was a long process. It was something that was a little bit out of the norm for the customer service team. So I want to do a huge shout out for the work that they did to get that. And they are still working on getting more checks. And I do anticipate that we will see more money coming in within the rest of the year. So what happens to a customer when their lender pays? As you may or may not know, we have what's called super lien. So the bank has to pay us. We have the higher authority, if you will, than the banks do. And the only one who's higher than us is Snohomish County property taxes. So we always want to make sure that we get our money, the citizens' money, because really the district belongs to a community of our community. They're the ones who pay for it, they invest into it. Is that the money that this $1,100 gets added to the principal amount of their mortgage loan, and typically the bank's average is $1,100, or excuse me, is paid out over the 12 months of the $1,100 that's added. We had a customer who called me yesterday and she thought she was on a payment plan to pay $220 a month. Well, when you calculate out what her balance owed was $59, she chose to go ahead and let the bank pay for it, being that was only $59 a month versus the $220 she was going to have paid. So our relationship with the clients is so important when we work with them on the delinquency side. We're also seeing a significant increase. Volunteers of America got quite a bit of money, and we are able to send customers there for assistance as well. We're still seeing 10% or less delinquency. I'm really happy that everybody is working together. As you saw, we got a very kind letter from a gentleman who was in a situation where he felt hopeless and had not found the support that he needed from other utility companies until he called us. And those kind of letters are what it's all about to me. So I thank you for everything and your support on the financials and how we're managing it. And it's very healthy and it's very good for the team when they have to get these phone calls. With Governor Inslee's latest phase and step back, we have implemented health stations at the admin, the operations, the wastewater treatment plant, and lift station 12, where we have a couple of employees working. Those include the temple thermometers. You'll have to take it every time you come into the office. And we've also made sure that we have sufficient surface disinfectant, plenty of toilet paper, and plenty of paper towels. We've joined the ranks of making sure we're hoarding enough of that toilet paper. For 4 stations, we have to have enough of that. We also have a tentative agreement with the collective bargaining. I'm proud to say that we've worked very hard. A huge shout out for Jonathan, Mariah, and Brandon and Eric, and our attorney John Lee and Josh, who works for Ask Me, on the hard work and diligence we've put together. What I believe will be a pretty good contract. The employees will be going over it, and then you will see it, I'm assumptive, sometime in December is our hope. Better than the last time we put it together, where it took 3.5 years. We also are changing banks, and one of the things that we're considering is getting, instead of credit cards, is a debit card. It puts a little bit more control in our hands, and we're looking with the state auditor on the recommendation on that. It will probably come to you through Mariah when we are ready with all of the information to present it. But it is actually something that we can control, including no ATM transactions on that. We met with our state auditor yesterday. We've been meeting with Michelle on a regular basis. Everything's looking pretty good. There's a few items that will put some procedures together, But overall, I think you'll be pleased once again on the positive response that we are getting from the state auditor. We have been, Mariah and I have been diligently training since the 13th. This is one example of why hiring somebody with the knowledge and background that Mariah brought with her, I feel like we've been able to jump ahead leaps and bounds because she already knows the district, she knows the employees, she has a good grasp of what it is that we do and how things are done. And so the questions are at a higher level and the transition continues to be very smooth. At least on my end, I would like to assume that it is for Mariah as well. And I want to remind you all that I have a few things on my desk for you to sign. And I'm also going to recognize, I'll say it right here and now, is I do have a 5-year certificate for Caitlin. I can't believe that she's been here for 5 years. So I want to recognize her and shout out for her since we're not able to meet in public. And I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and remind you that we are closed on Thursday and Friday of this week. And that's it.
Thank you. And I guess I just want to say real quick, I mean, as your time is coming to close as the general manager, I want to say thank you. I know we have been scheduling stuff to kind of throw a little going away party and everything celebration, but that it seems to have been circumvented by another closure of half the businesses, so we're not able to do that. But I just want to say thank you. 13 plus years, you've made a big difference in the organization, and I know you've been part of the community because I can go back a few years when I first met you, working, I think, for one of the local banks in the area. So appreciate all the hard work and everything, and I'm sure my fellow commissioners would probably say the same things, but I did want to be able to say that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Moving to our Assistant General Manager, Jonathan, you are up.
All right. So far, year to date, the district's collected 317 general facility charges and issued 393 permits. The parking lot project is substantially complete. We're waiting on just a few final touches and then we'll be done with the parking lot. The Grace Lane overlay is physically complete. We're just waiting on the final contract voucher to get them paid, and then should be done with that. They did a great job, fast, and yeah, 10 times better than what it was. So that's what we like out of our contractors, and it's what we like for our community. Decant facility is moving forward. They poured the footings for the concrete platforms last week and are continuing on rebar. I can't believe how much rebar is going into that, but it's they're doing a great job out there and have made a lot of progress in the past 2 weeks, so it's looking great. Angeline has been working with the city to finalize that infill side sewer permit application, and her hard work has gotten us at least a verbal approval from the city thus far. So I think we've come to terms with how we move forward, and we get the city involved early on with that process, so we make sure that we aren't stepping on another agency's jurisdiction. So with that, any comments, questions, concerns?
I have none, thank you. And we will move on down to treatment plant update. Jim, you are on.
Thank you, and good morning, commissioners. Things are going great at the plant. And as always, the 1st of January, you're going to see the new draft regulations coming out. Jonathan alluded to the $85,000 or $80,000 project that we're going to potentially do next year related to those. Jonathan has been doing a great job with Caitlin, keeping us all organized on that. We have our recovery cleans coming up pretty soon, which is a major effort by the whole staff, and that is to do a semi-annual cleaning of the MDR. So that'll take several weeks, and we're looking forward to all that hard work. Personally, I'd like to thank Tanya for the opportunity to be here, and the staff asked me to thank Tanya for the culture and successes that we've all shared, and also to welcome Mariah on board, and we're looking forward to working with her and continuing to be successful. And other than that, happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on down to city report. I don't know if we have, I do see council member Mary Dickinson there, and I don't know if she is going to speak on behalf of the city because I don't see anybody else in the call, but they could be one of the unidentified callers from the city to kind of give an update.
I'm just here to listen and learn, and thank you very much, one and all. I appreciate it, and good luck, Mariah. Excuse me, we now have titles. I have to remember that, but I'm just here to listen. I have much to learn, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the city right now. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, and we appreciate you being part of the process with us, even if you aren't representing the city this morning as a official speaker. Thank you for being here as one of the ratepayers and also as an elected within the community. So I don't see anybody else, so I'm going to assume, which is not always a good thing, that there is no city report on that aspect. So if I'm wrong, they can interrupt me, but other than that, we'll move on up to the commissioner's report, and we can start with Commissioner Koshi.
Yeah, just a couple things. One, don't want to let the Caitlin 5-year slide by, so extra shout out to her. Appreciate all of her work. I do recall a $100 soil probe that led to a cascade of things that saved over $1 million at that plant, along leading that disposal of the old wastewater treatment plant along with other team members. That was a huge win for the ratepayers, and so very productive 5 years. So thank you there. Financials, I know it took a little longer this morning to go through those. Just great stuff that's represented by the numbers. And like I say, I think each time we talk about that is, numbers can be pretty dry, but the numbers are the accumulation of how we measure our great work. And that indeed is the case on how it's come through, and to be able to find ourselves in a spot where we're deciding what to do, whether we accelerate payments down, whether we look at increased reserves to see how long we can absorb and keep a rate stable for the ratepayers. It's just a great place to be. And then Tanya, do we have an official date as in terms of your departure? I want to make sure that the marching band and the dancers and everything, I want to make sure we queue them up virtually at the right time. So is there a date that is specific, or are we being flexible?
So my final date, for just the record, is Monday, November 30th, but I have been invited to attend the utility workshop on December 3rd. So I'll be in for that. And then we do have a team meeting. We're doing an admin on the 10th, so I'll be around, but officially the 30th, and then Mariah actually takes the helm on the 1st officially. Yeah.
All right. Like I say, big shoes, but different shoes. That's what the best part about it. And I would get weepy, but I know that when we transition, you get to choose the relationships that you continue, right? And so that always brings me comfort in time to transition. So appreciate all your work. And there'll be more about that later, I'm sure. So that's all I got, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevenson, I'm not sure if, yep, I see you on the line still. Anything is fine.
I just honestly want to thank everyone for all the help. I feel a little overwhelmed at times. Just there's so much to learn. I'm really excited to just be part of this team. You guys have a great team of people that just are amazing. And a special thank you to Caitlin and Jim for my tour of the plant. It was so informative and she just made it fun. And I just really appreciate everyone from Tanya to Mariah to my other commissioners. Just honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we're always available for you.
Perfect. Thank you again. And then finally, last but not least, I just want to thank everybody, especially the staff that just does an incredible job. I'd have to go through every single member here because they all do such great work. I want to welcome aboard our former commissioner, but our soon to be brand spanking new general manager, Mariah. You're going to do an excellent job. You have a great team behind you. Tanya is only a phone call away and probably sometimes even closer. So it's just great to see that everything is moving forward. I appreciate the staff on the budget this morning for just putting it together pretty quickly. You would have never thought differently. You guys did an outstanding job in the presentation this morning. So it just shows the commitment and what you guys are doing. Thank you again. I hope everybody has a wonderful Turkey Day or ham or whatever you're going to eat this fine Thursday, Friday. I know that most offices in the government side are closed, so I appreciate that. I know we are going to have a small, and I say small, probably less than 15-minute executive session. It'll cover possible litigation, no decision to follow, but I know that it's something we do need to do. The end of the month is just around the corner. Our incoming general manager will be joining us on that fine meeting this morning along with legal. So with that being said, I can let legal tell us the finer points of what I just said.
This is Brad, and let me take the lead from the commission president and indicate that the executive session will last approximately 15 minutes, so it will terminate at 11 o'clock or earlier. And the commission will now recess into executive session to discuss with legal counsel potential litigation that when the executive session concludes, the commission will return to regular session, at which time the commission will adjourn the meeting. And at that time, there will be no action taken nor any announcement made based upon the discussion that occurs in or that did occur in executive session. So now there will be a couple of minutes to get organized, but the person that is taking care of the meeting will make sure that all persons who are authorized to be in the executive session are the only people that are in the executive session. So if that can be accomplished, then the president can convene the executive session.
Thank you, Brad. So I know Tara is the gatekeeper. I think that we will go into executive session as soon as she is ready. She can delete, mute, or possibly otherwise.
Only one I see that got out was Mariah. Is she not staying in here?
Mariah cannot stay.
Oh, okay.
She has an appointment. So, and I'm actually working on Roz and Mariah's appointment right now. So,
and who is caller 4? Anybody? Any of you?
No.
I don't know if
they're gone.
They just left.
They left.
Will you lock the meeting, Tara?
I just clicked the button and let me stop recording.
This
Start
conference will
recording.
now be recorded.
Okay, so the Board of Commissioners is back into regular session. There was no decision on the executive session as stated earlier, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody have a wonderful
Everybody.
Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon. And I'll stop by the district to sign paper.
Okay, thank
Thank you.
you.